shocks me sometimes when someone says no, but I try to introspect. I look at it and I'm like, actually, well done to you.
Sure.
Like the fact that you're able to be like, no, like we're not doing that.
No comes across as a form of a boundary, but in that boundary you're creating some inner peace for yourself. And fair enough, some people can't handle honesty these days, but
it's so important to say no, guys. I think sometimes it's good to even say it without even over explaining. I think you feel the need to over explain, like you said, because you want to protect the person's feelings.
As much as it's a short word, but it goes a long way in protecting yourself and your boundaries.
It's so important to protect yourself and your peace, because imagine saying yes to something that will just bring you distress. You know, you don't want that, and then you're constantly in a cycle of guilt because you're like, I shouldn't have said yes to that, I shouldn't have allowed that, you know. So, and I feel like everyone does experience a bit of that. So learning how to say no is important. I'm still learning, because I just genuinely struggle to be like no. Like I try and find excuses, and I try and be like, you know, and sometimes, you know, I try and just do it anyway, even if I don't want to, you know, especially with family.
Yeah, that's the worst. They'll hold you at ransom, those ones.
It's definitely no one's responsibility to help you. You know, you can't have that sense of entitlement, you know, and I say this even to your own family and friends, you know. However, it is weird. I find it a bit weird. I mean, if you have the means to help somebody, I think it's not only the biblical thing to do. This lady was practically explaining that she was down and out and a lot was going on with her finances, but she has a friend that is actually a millionaire that can actually sort her out. So you can just imagine how it actually hurts when someone who is that millionaire is looking at you and your car is getting repossessed. And I mean, you shouldn't be entitled to people's stuff at all, friends or family. But I'm sure it does sting a bit when they can't, or they decide to not help you. But however, if someone is saying that, dude, my car is being repossessed, here are the emails, this is what they are sending, unless your friend is scamming you, I don't know, very bad friend, you know. But I feel like if this is a true friend and this is a genuine friend and they are telling you that, you know, this is what's going on in my life, you know, I don't think it's a big issue to just be like, okay, dude, like here's the 10k, and then if you feel hesitant, you can just be like, send me those account details and let me just pay them, and I'll give you the proof of payments in case you feel like your friend might maybe not even pay them. You know, might just take the money and eat it anyway. You don't know, because it'll be upsetting to help that friend with that amount of money just to find out that they didn't even do that with the money. Because remember, when you are the giver of money, you also feel entitled to the result. Like, what did you do to the money that I gave you?
You as the receiver, do you feel the responsibility to pay back? Because now when you're seeing the friend, now you're out like the random meeting with the friend, and the first encounter is awkward, because now you think, you borrowed me 10k last week, now we're out here having lunch. Now you sit down and thinking, how and when do I start paying you back?
Hence, I try to not put myself in those situations, because I just have a horrible nature of feeling indebted. And while I feel indebted to you, you'll ask me for things, and because you helped me, I will also feel the need to do. Next thing you're telling me, hey, please babysit to these 3 kids. You know, I can't say no, because you helped me with 10k to pay for my car, and now you're asking me to babysit your children. If I say no, I'm gonna feel so horrible, because you were able to help me 10k. So I'm gonna say, bring those kids, it's fine. Next thing you're asking me to, I don't know, like
now there's no more no.
Now there's no more no. Like that's how that inner peace was gone.
Welcome back to it. Interesting song break that we took. Of course, the song that I played previously was called "Welcome to the Carter," which of course comes out of the Low Winds latest feature. Bongi and I were speaking off air of how impressive we were with his performance at the BET Awards. Quite unfortunate that it was only 2 songs. I mean, Lil Wayne being the legend that he is, we would have expected BET to give him at least 4 songs. And of course, he had to take the best song, which of course was Amelie, and he also performed "Welcome to the Carter." So a very, very interesting artist and a legend in the industry. And of course, he's released his new album. The album is called Carter 6, Carter 6, Carter 6, much awaited and anticipated Carter 6. So if you haven't listened to that album, take some time. There's some interesting songs, some interesting features on that album as well. And speaking about albums, there's a lot of songs that have dropped out today or even during the course of the week. And as we proceed throughout the course of the show, we'll be playing some of those songs for you, just so we can get those dance moves out and to get the blood flowing, to ensure that you're warm throughout the course of the morning. Of course, it is the Breakfast Show, and on the Breakfast Show we do take some time to give you an insight as to what Bogart man once said. And here's a quote from one Bogart man. He says, "Peace isn't always quiet. Sometimes it's just knowing you said no and you meant it." How important is that for us, guys? Because I feel like sometimes, especially these days, when we say no, we always sit back in a couple of seconds and we think, maybe that no should have been a maybe.
Or let me explain myself.
Let me Because you know what the issue is? I feel like we tend to dive so much in other. Yes, we need to be considerate of other people's emotions, but over and above that, we need to be considerate about all our own emotions. If you say no sometimes, no, not sometimes, no, all the time needs to mean no.
Yeah. I think for me, I struggle being a receiver of a no, and that's because I'm a yes ma'am. Like, I really try. If there's something that I can do about it, I will say yes. So when someone says no to me, I'm like, oh, but if I was in your shoes, I would have said yes.
Sorry to put you in this position. It's not pretty privilege. That's lingering in the top of your head.
It's not pretty privilege.
Like, how can you say no to me, such a pretty woman?
Guys. It's really not. I think it shocks me sometimes when someone says no, but I try to introspect. I look at it and I'm like, actually, well done to you.
Sure.
Like, the fact that you're able to be like, no, like, we're not doing that, or no, I'm not going with you to the mall. Okay, you can go by yourself, for example. You understand? Like, for me, because I know if someone would just be like, hey, can we do this? I will try and be like, okay, or I'll just explain. If I really can't do it, I'll literally call you and be like, listen, I can't do it because of this. And I guess that it comes with people pleasing, you know. And I don't know if sometimes it's people pleasing or just being kind, guys. I'm not sure, you know, but I guess it does come because I hate to disappoint and I hate to feel like I'm not being there for you.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with being a considerate person is sometimes you put yourself on the side and you always consider the other person's feelings and making the other person happy for what the request is. But more importantly, as part of this code, one of the important parts of it is just so you know how to set boundaries and where to set your boundaries.
Boundaries are very important.
You know, it's possibly the most no comes across as a form of a boundary, but in that boundary you're creating some inner peace for yourself as well. You know, okay, I said no, but by saying no, I haven't offended myself, I haven't offended anyone, I've just shared my honesty. And fair enough, some people can't handle honesty these days, but hey.
It's so important to say no, guys. I think sometimes it's good to even say it without even over explaining. I think you feel the need to over explain, like you said, because you want to protect the person's feelings. But just saying things like, you know what, no, I'm not available, no, I can't make it, and you know, just leaving it at that.
And also, do we choose our no's? I think we choose no's, no?
Maybe we do.
I
think we do.
I don't want to go to that
there's some
part.
people I give them a hard no. I'd be like,
I'm not coming.
Some people you can.
Yeah,
fair. You're like,
but then other times it's hard to say no.
Hard.
Like, I know it's in my best interest to say no.
Yeah.
But now I know how you're gonna feel when I say no.
When I say no.
But now here's a scenario. You're in a relationship. You guys are going through some turmoil. You're fighting at the moment. An ex-friend, boy or girlfriend, invites you to a party, for instance, or to a gathering. Because you and your partner were okay, and then you decided to fight, and then you realize, now that we are fighting, that no I said, can I reverse it into a yes?
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself in those situations?
I don't want to be in
this guy's space.
I will be so honest with you guys. I have done that before. I'm not proud, but I have. And I will keep it very simple. It was literally like we had agreed that of course I'm not going to, you know, this outing. And it was cool. But because of things that were just going on the day and just like a lot of back and forth,
around this.
I was like, you know what, I'm leaving. Like, I felt, I don't know, guys, if women experience this, but I felt like the man in the relationship. Because most of the time, and when I say this, guys, that specific moment, not in general. Not in general. Okay, let me correct that. Because, and I say this because literally I was like, I'm going out because I can, like, we're not seeing eye to eye. And he was like, no, I'm a chill indoors. And usually the roles are always reversed. We chill indoors. And then the guy's like, I'm going to go have beers with the boys. So it happens, like, where you're like, nah, remember I said no? I'm pulling up. I'm having a girls' night out.
No, I've done that too. Like, actually, why am I gonna chill here?
Yeah, for what? Yeah.
Why must I be here with you? Let me go do something that I'm gonna enjoy.
Yeah. Especially if we're not reaching consensus. We're not reaching consensus. It's not, and now we're just gonna go back and forth, and then you've ruined my Friday.
Yeah. Also, it's like the energy in that space also gets ruined. So as much as we say it's like setting a boundary, sometimes a boundary is not a still boundary. The boundary can move. So whereby you going into a different environment allows that boundary to move there. When you do come back, maybe the energies might be different. Maybe it might be reciprocated, a lot more differently. So I do agree. Saying no is as long as much as it's a short word, but it goes a long way in protecting yourself and your boundaries.
It's so important to protect yourself and your peace, because imagine saying yes to something that will just bring you distress. You know, you don't want that, and then you're constantly in a cycle of guilt because you're like, I shouldn't have said yes to that. I shouldn't have allowed that. You know, so, and I feel like everyone does experience a bit of that. So learning how to say no is important. I'm still learning because I just genuinely genuinely struggle to be like, no. Like, I try and find excuses, and I try and be like, and sometimes, I try and just do it anyway, even if I don't want to, especially with family.
Yeah, that's the worst. They'll hold you at ransom. Those ones. You'll feel bad for saying. In fact, the word no will be removed from your vocabulary.
It does. You will find a way to just say no without saying no.
Yeah, no, thank you to the Bogart man that gave us that quote. Of course, we trust, we hope that quote will carry some water in your life throughout the course of the day, and maybe the weekend as well. The time right now is 36 minutes past 9 o'clock. We have quite a lot more coming throughout the course of the show. As we mentioned, as we mentioned, of course, there's Did You Know? We've got an interesting Did You Know with regards to sneakers. You'll find that one quite funny. And then there's a lot of stories that are grabbing headlines as far as I know. Floyd Shivambu is definitely in the circulating headlines as far as political narratives are concerned. There's a lot happening in the world of sport. There was a big shocker that took place yesterday. But Botafogo of Brazil really shocked the Parisians. Current defending Champions League champions, Paris Saint-Germain, were shocked last night. I'll give you insight as to how that unfolded. And of course, I've been singing this song throughout the course of the week. There's been a positive test result for Kakiso Rabada, and of course the rest of the Protea squad as they did their rounds throughout the country, celebrating the WTC victory, of course, during over the course of the past weekend. An interesting show, a very, very jam-packed show. We're going to try to take some time to give you some music, but more importantly, share some insight as to what's going on in South Africa, but also importantly in the rest of the world. Stay tuned. This is The Breakfast Show. I see Calvin Mom was doing interviews recently, so he's realized, hey, the industry is calling for us to be seen and to be heard. This thing of being underground producer is not working.
We need your face, and sometimes I feel like as a brand, it's nice to be faceless so that you just don't attract all this attention that comes with being in the industry. But I've seen that your face is needed out there. People want to know who you are. They want to see the face, because there's so many producers you can literally just pass by at the mall and you don't even know that is the person that produced a hit song.
Big hit.
Big hit
like how many have we walked past and we
so
think,
many.
Here's just another gem.
Yeah, like here's another one. Like
accolades within the music industry. There are gold medals there waiting. Which I do feel certain musicians do need to come out them Twitter specifically. It needs to be out
we
in
need
the public
more of him.
We need to see
Twitter, if you hear this, please
come out.
Please
come join us.
I think it also creates actually more of a demand sometimes. Like with Sia, for example, when she hid her face, now everyone wants to know what does she look like?
Yeah.
So they kind of like achieving the opposite, because now sometimes we really want to know who you are.
Yeah.
And people will find you.
Speaking about who you really are, we were speaking about friendships off air, and Secret brought up an interesting topic. Of course, all of us have that one rich friend that sits there with the millions in the accounts waiting for somebody to come and ask, please, can I just borrow a 10 rand from that million? Depending on the scenarios that we're in. So of course there's various scenarios that we go in, either be it repossession, be it loss of employment, and in those situations we always sit down and think, who can be the one person that can save us right now? That's the question I'm putting over to you. Go through your contact list, find that one friend you can call right now, say, Chief, I need 10K right now, immediately. My car is stuck right now. Come and save me. Have the one friend. If you do have the one friend, please share us how that friend would come to the party, will come save you at your dire moments of need. Of course, I will share our insight, our stories of how we've experienced our hardships, but the one friend that pulled up for us.
Happy Friday, Bogart Radio.
Happy Friday to you too. Shout out to everybody that's listening at the moment. If you are listening from different parts of the country, different parts of the continent, a big shout out to you and a big thank you for tuning in this morning. It's been an interesting show so far. Hosted, of course, by myself, Sikle, and none other than Fioza out in the building. We've covered some interesting topics. I've given insight as far as what a Bogart man once said, and we dive into a discussion of the importance of saying no and setting a boundary for inner peace, how important that is. And of course, we're going to take some time to dive in some local news. But before we go into that, there's a topic that we were having. There's a discussion we're having off air with regards to that one rich friend that you look at your contact list and think, hey, speed down, come and help me right now. I'm stuck in the middle of an island. I need your assistance. Please just share us with the crust of the story. Where is it coming from? How can we call that one friend?
I think for me, I was actually looking at a video that I saw where a lady was complaining about this, and I was like, you know what? This is something that actually happens a lot. Because this lady was practically explaining that she was down and out and a lot was going on with her finances. But she has a friend that is actually a millionaire that can actually sort her out. So you can just imagine how it actually hurts when someone who is that millionaire is looking at you and your car is getting repossessed. Sure. And I mean, you shouldn't be entitled to people's stuff at all, friends or family. But I'm sure it does sting a bit when they can't or they decide to not help you.
Do you feel like they think it's their right as a friend to help you?
No.
Or their responsibility? You don't think so?
I just feel like it's definitely no one's responsibility to help you.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have that sense of entitlement.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
and I say this even to your own family and friends. You know, however, it is weird. I find it a bit weird. I mean, if you have the means to help somebody, I think it's not only the biblical thing to do or the godly thing to do. You know, if you have more than enough, where God has blessed you with not just enough, but more than enough, you know, you have abundance. I feel like, especially to a friend, there's nothing wrong with lending a helping hand. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but I think what the other concern is this of giving to get back.
Yes.
There's that narrative that we've all developed as human beings. So now sometimes when somebody asks you for short change, for instance, 500 rand BMA, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, 500 rand is short change. What are the chances of me ever getting it back if I had to ask you for this 500 rand? Would you be in a situation to give me the 500 rand if I needed it? And I think that's how some rich friends sitting on the wayside and can consider themselves, especially if you're somebody that has a lot of money. The thing with money is once you give it away, you feel as, although you might have a million, if you give away 500 rand from that million, you feel as if now there's a chip in my bank account. I'm not the same person that I was a few days ago, and that's the power that money has. Money has such a godly power that we almost feel as if without it we are non-existent. And giving that away almost feels like you're giving your power away. And that's why you find a lot of friends are reluctant to give money away, and they rather give away certain items and say, okay, cool, I see you don't have hot water, as opposed to giving you money for the kettle. I'll give you a kettle that was a spare kettle in my house.
Of course.
You know, and that's how some friends are. That's how some friends tend to give. I'd like to think I'm that kind of friend that would rather give an item that you need as opposed to giving you the money to get that item, because I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to judge what you can do with the money. That's up to you. You've asked for it. Whatever you do with it, up to you. But if I find that, okay, you need a kettle, hypothetically, just randomly speaking, you need a kettle, I'll find a spare kettle for you. In fact, I'll go over and above and buy you the kettle, as opposed to just putting in a scenario where you feel like now you have to deal with the money issue, you have to deal with the issue of getting transport to go get the kettle. You know, there's too many strings attached with regards to that request. So
you know what my oldest brother does to me? He's the millionaire in my life in this situation. If, let's say, I need 800 rand for something and this problem would go away, he would rather buy me an 800 rand bottle of alcohol to help me drink my problems and forget that I have. You see? So there's some people where I do feel entitled, because it's like, I'm your sister, I'm your little sister. You're supposed to, you see me like.
So now you'll just accept it, even if it's not what you need, but because you got it, you're like, I'm accepting this.
Hey, I'll drink it, but still.
I was about to say that, I hear where you're coming from. I think it is important to not just give the man the fish, but teach the man how to fish, right? Yeah. But however, if someone is saying that, dude, my car is being repossessed, here are the emails, this is what they are sending, unless your friend is scamming you, I don't know, a very bad friend, but I feel like if this is a true friend and this is a genuine friend and they are telling you that, this is what's going on in my life, I don't think it's a big issue to just be like, okay, dude, like, here's the 10k, and then if you feel hesitant, you can just be like, send me those account details and let me just pay them, and I'll give you the proof of payments in case you feel like your friend might maybe not even pay them. Might just take the money and eat it anyway. You don't know, because it'll be upsetting to help that friend with that amount of money just to find out that they didn't even do that with the money. Because remember, when you are the giver of money, you also feel entitled to the result. For sure. Like, what did you do to the money that I gave you? And I don't know. At the end of the day, let us not be entitled to people's pockets and family, friends, everybody, but it's a very tricky one.
You as the receiver, do you feel the responsibility to pay back? Because now when you're seeing the friend, now you're out like the random meeting with a friend, and the first encounter is awkward, because now you think, you borrowed me 10k last week, now we're out here having lunch, now I must expect you to pay for this lunch as well. Now you sit there and you're thinking, how and when do I start paying you back?
Hence, I try to not put myself in those situations, because I just have a horrible nature of feeling indebted. And when I feel indebted to you, you'll ask me for things, and because you helped me, I will also feel the need to. Next thing you're telling me, hey, please babysit to these 3 kids. I can't say no, because you helped me with 10k to pay for my car, and now you're asking me to babysit your children. If I say no, I'm gonna feel so horrible, because you were able to help me 10k. So I'm gonna say, bring those kids, it's fine. Next thing you're asking me to, I don't know, like,
now there's no more no.
Now there's no more no. Like, that's how that inner piece was gone, because that's how I will feel. I feel like, I'm indebted to you. So now, should you have any problems, I must, show up for you because you showed up for me. So I always try my best to not put myself in those situations, but this is life, and life does happen. And it's so important to have a friend, who that you can trust and that can also help you. You're not a mountain. You need help. It's life.
That's true. Do you, on the same token, do you feel like there are certain friends or certain situations you just can't help, but your greatest help is just to be there?
Of course. Of course. There are definitely situations where, the
you
moral support.
You feel guilty for not being able to help?
Financially.
In any type. So, for instance, friends being evicted, and they've come to you and they're like, okay, I'm being evicted, I have nowhere else to go, you are my only option, and you being the only option, you're actually not an option. But then how does you not being an option turn into a no? Because now your friend has nowhere else to sleep. But I found myself in a similar scenario, but in that scenario I just become a helping hand where I will drive you to this place, I will go to this place, I will speak to this person and see if this person will connect me to a place for you to stay. There's nothing worse than feeling helpless for a friend that is in dire need of your help.
And a good friend.
A very good friend.
A very good friend, because you wouldn't want to, especially because this is also quite a mental health awareness month. I feel like every month should be mental health awareness month. But now imagine if your friend, due to these financial constraints, does something to themselves. Imagine the guilt. I mean, it's not on you, but just imagine.
And you were the first person they came to.
You were the first person that they came to cry about. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but on Father's Day, there is a father that jumped off a bridge.
Oh no!
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And we don't know the reasons. Depression is a cancer that you will not see.
That's for sure.
It's something that we still learning and still trying to understand. But you can only imagine maybe the pressure that could have led to that. If it's not necessarily diagnosed depression, it could literally just be the fact that life is overwhelming.
On that specific day, all the Father's Day messages that are going through, and you're on your phone.
You understand? So. It's a very tricky one, but I believe in lend that helping hand where you can. I believe in sowing and reaping. What you sow, you will reap. Universe, God, it will come back to you. I genuinely believe in that, because I've seen that happen for myself, where when I lend that helping hand, something else, just like when I need the help, I also get the help, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see this is a ripple effect of just being kind to people out there.
Yeah, be kind is the operative word in that discussion. Very, very important for us to be aware of everyone else's mental health. And I know we did speak about the aspect of the narrative of saying no and defending your inner peace, but also just choose who you say no to and choose the scenarios you say no to, because like we said now, someone might need that yes from you, and that yes could perhaps be a lifeline to them as well. Interesting topic. The time right now is 10 o'clock. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we dive into the news. There's a lot that's been capturing our attention as far as our political news, our general news in the country and outside of our borders as well. Stay tuned. The time right now is exactly 10 a.m. The second hour of the show. Of course, we'll take some time to dive into some interesting insights as far as news are concerned from inside the country, inside the continent, and also around the world. Still diving into number one on our list, of course, is the Floyd Shivambu story. Yes, that has been circulating throughout the course of the week. Of course, we know he's serving a current suspension from the MK party. Of course, Floyd Shivambu says that he's not resigning as a member of the Mkhonto weSizwe, also known as the MK party, despite his ambitions of forming his own political organization.
MK just always seems to have drama.
Yeah, they say that's a family, but it's a family group, that one.
Makes
so in the family group, there's a lot of tension.
What's funny? This morning on the way here, I actually heard on the radio that he was apparently removed from the WhatsApp group.
Why am I not surprised? He's been removed from numerous groups, of course. So much so that he's coming out and he wants to start his own party. Over the past 10 years of his political involvement, he's been in huge amounts of turmoil. Of course, being one of the founders of the EFF party with Julius Malema. When that spread up, a lot of things happened. He was also involved in some sexual assault issues. He's been in the limelight, but of course in the limelight he's a political stalwart, and he has a mandate, he has a mindset that he wants to put out there. And you can almost tell this by his behavior within parliament. He wants to be a man that stands alone. He's got a loud voice. He's got a loud voice, a big personality. And I think that's where he's heading right now. It's almost a foregone conclusion that he will start his own party. Whether that party will gain some, it'll most likely gain some attention and some support. But whether the support will be enough to have a seat in parliament, we're not quite sure.
No. Yeah. Well, he does say that he won't resign and he won't rejoin EFF or ANC. So I guess it kind of leads.
So it's either MK or himself.
Yeah, it's him exploring this new party at this point.
Yeah.
So in other news, a motion of no confidence in Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero is expected to be tabled next week. I don't know how I would feel if people are they come together to vote that I can't do my job.
You know, this whole Joburg mayor thing has been an issue for quite some time. There've been, I think, I forgot his name, man. He was a funny Joburg mayor who never really did anything, but he was always in the limelight. But now it's come out in the political realm that Ellen Ziller will be running for Joburg mayor. So that's going to be quite interesting.
You know what? Looking at Cape Town, I think maybe
you're right.
Yeah,
but remember,
just
it's not
for a little bit.
But Cape Town has Khayelitsha and has Gugulet and has like many other things, and things aren't looking as great. So now, imagine now we can say, okay, you did so well with Cape Town, we are handing Joburg over to you. But what about Davidson? What about Soweto? What about Mamelodi? Kloof? What about Tembisa? What about, you understand? So it would be, amazing if like all areas, especially the areas that need service delivery, could be prioritized like a lot more. But hey, we'll see. I see who wins.
And I think the biggest issue with being a mayor of Joburg, there are things as citizens of Joburg that we come across and we realize, hey, actually these traffic lights are not working. Yeah. They haven't been working for a couple of months. Yeah. Those are things that Joburgers are complaining about. It's not things that are hidden away. It's not things that we can't see. It's things that are affecting us. Literally up the road, there's a set of robots just before you off-ramp or just before you on-ramp onto the M1. Yeah. Those robots only got fixed last week, and they've been like that for almost a year. And it's part of one of the biggest intersections in this area.
Imagine the accidents.
100%. There are potholes in parts of the country where you think, actually this part of the country, like the Richard Square Mall, for instance, the potholes that you won't imagine should exist there. So that's what people are looking at and saying there are immediate issues in Joburg that we need to get sorted out. But the problem is the mayors that are coming in, they're worried about things that have to do with the pocket, they're worried about things that have to do with the GNU, whereas normal general citizens and civilians just want things to be fixed, to be sorted out.
Literally. Touching on accidents and potholes, Toyota's insurers and reinsurers have filed a 6.5 billion damages claim against Transnet, the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government and the eThekwini municipality over flooded-related losses at the company's prospection plant.
These are going to be quite big losses, eh?
It's a lot of losses.
I think these floods have affected not only parts of KZN, I think the Eastern Cape was also heavily affected as well by this. A lot of insurers are definitely having the phones ringing throughout. Operators are literally answering phone calls.
It's a lot because, I mean, at the end of the day, when you are covering your car, to make sure that you are covered, you have the insurance does make sure that they have the means, to mitigate the risk or to fix the risk. But now imagine if it's something that is like an influx, like it's now way too much. And remember, insurance companies also have insurance, so now it's a lot. The insurance industry, it's quite a lot, it's quite something. But hopefully with infrastructure, this just shines light to how important it is to have our infrastructure fixed and sorted out, just to avoid claims that could be avoided.
That's true.
Certain claims can be avoided.
I know certain insurance companies stopped paying out natural disasters because they realized actually at this time of the year it's going to happen. So we're not going to insure you with regards to natural disasters.
Exactly.
So a lot of people are suffering in that regard.
Yes.
Speaking about suffering, I think I might be the one that will suffer from this news. MultiChoice is exploring the potential separation of its SuperSport channels from its broader DSTV offerings.
Sure.
But isn't that better though? Because some people don't want to pay 900.
I was about to say that. What does this mean? Does this mean that now SuperSport is going to have their own way to just access and view and do everything without?
As they should have been, as it should have been a long time ago. But I think what the issue now is MultiChoice and DSTV will now be thinking we're going to be losing subscribers.
Of course,
because everyone else that had DSTV was mainly for the sport, because the movies and all the other series you can get on various platforms. So it was mainly for the sport. So if SuperSport moves from the DSTV channels and goes on a separate one, so over and above the hypothetically speaking the 56 million subscribers that DSTV MultiChoice have, it'll probably be cut by half because the 56 will not need sport anymore, and the men or the women and everyone else that gets entertained by sport will now have to download a separate app to get access to SuperSport channels.
Sure.
I think it was always coming with regards to the streaming platforms that have been released. DSTV or rather MultiChoice were never going to hold the monopoly for this long. And I think with regards to Showmax, part of MultiChoice as well, Showmax, Netflix, Plex, Disney Plus. There's so many platforms.
Prime.
Amazon Prime. There's so many platforms. And I think Supersport's greatest grip on this platform was the sports. And if they have to release a sports, then it's going to become an open field for everyone else.
Man, I don't know, man. I'm not that bummed about this because I feel like, you know, when losses like this happen, they affect so much. The what is it called when is it job losses? That the main word for it? You get retrenched. Imagine the retrenchments that can happen due to the losses. You know, guys, there's so many people that are feeding their families through the media. You know, whether you are the sound guy, the camera guy, behind the scenes, whatever you are. So now, if there's that withdrawal, I don't know. I don't get too bummed about news like this because I feel like so many guys, we had to watch Musica close down simply because of what streaming has done for the music. So now imagine the amount of losses. That was retail, first of all. So
and there were a lot of retail stores.
There were a lot of retail stores.
Blockbuster.
You know, Blockbuster had to go. So many things had to go. And because of this digital era we are in, and for me, it does worry me. You know, I worry about the future.
But it is an inevitable future considering the developments of our open AI and AI and general ChatGPT. So some of these things will happen. It's just a matter of time.
It is. No,
I think that's why it's important to also like go back to school and just do these courses, teach yourself, even if you do it informally, and just adapt to the technology.
You have to adapt to the change.
Like, don't be like the boomers that are like, I don't want to use a computer, I don't want to use a smartphone, I still want to use a TV.
You get left behind, Chief.
You see, they're being left behind.
Everything is also happening so fast. You know, not that long ago, you know, when MultiChoice started and everything was happening with DSTV, it was like, wow, you know, look at this, look at everything we can watch. So it's not only just ABC, you know, SABC now. There's so many options. And then now it's like, we're leaving you. We out. Like, so many people are literally saying that they no longer want to pay for MultiChoice and DSTV and the price. It's just for me, it's also like a horrible economic indicator.
People also don't even bother paying for things like Netflix, for example. They just go to YouTube.
There's also that, and the subscriptions have gone up. Everything has gone up. Whether it's your Netflix, your Showmax, and whatnot, they have gone up, and people are also complaining that now it's so expensive just to be entertained at home. You know, it's crazy out here.
Speaking about things going up, City Power has launched a citywide campaign to register 130,000 indigent households in Johannesburg for, of course, the free basic electricity program that, of course, ends at the end of July.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Sure. But how do they determine what type of household? Of course, I'm assuming they'll use the income basis to determine
they
what
look at the
households
area. So there's certain areas like, for example, I have friends all over the place, and some friends would be like, hey, try this free electricity thing, and I get these free 50 units and stuff. And then I'd say, okay, let me try it. But unfortunately, I'm in Greenstone, and they're like,
so
you don't need free basic electricity.
Your area does not allow.
And touching on electricity, you know, with these power struggles and price hikes, there's a lot that's going to be happening in Joburg, especially starting July 1st. These electricity tariff in Joburg will increase by 12.41%.
Again.
Yeah, and it's apparently a national hike that will go up. So I don't know. So if you are obviously buying prepaid electricity where you spend 200 Rand at this point, well, no one really spends 200 Rand, you know, but just as an example, 200 Rand worth of electricity, now you find yourself either having to buy like 270 or even 300 Rand to get the same amount of electricity that you used to.
And now in the winter, that does not last at all.
The timing is...
I mean, I'll switch on my heater within 30 minutes. Is like...
It
40 units gone already.
Okay, what heater do you have? Mine takes 3 units a night.
That heater blows air. I'm like, Chief, this thing.
But people are pushing back when it comes to this. Apparently, there's 2,600 objections that were submitted. But I don't think we're going to win this one. No,
I don't think so.
We never do.
Remember, the government was finding a way to get money from taxpayers, and this might be the greatest way to do it unsung, because we know it's a resource that we need, so we have to pay for it.
We have to pay for it.
And speaking of electricity, the Eskom board received 10 million Rand in board fees during the 2023-2024 financial year, while employees collectively earned 3 billion Rand in overtime over the same period.
Sure.
So they have money, these people.
Sure. Yeah.
The rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
And the middle class carry
they carry that heavy bucket.
They carry the heavy bucket
on their shoulder.
We're not laughing. Hey, this is sad.
Serious issues.
Yeah.
Just to round up your local news, a memorial service was held for the 92 victims of the recent Eastern Cape floods that took place in Mthatha. No, President Cyril Ramaphosa was there also to pay homage and condolences to those families as well. So
That's a sad one.
Very, very sad.
It's not nice to ever lose a family member, especially in something that when you look at, you're like, but this could have been prevented. Like, I think that's how I constantly feel about certain things, that this could have been prevented had there been measures, in place. But yeah, condolences to the family.
Speaking about condolences, just to avoid any further issues with regards to inclement weather throughout the course of the weekend, the city of Cape Town is urging residents to clear the gutters ahead of more rain forecast for the weekend. And I think we're also due in some inclement weather here in Joburg as well. There's another cold front coming. Yeah, really? brace yourself. It's winter. What do you?
I know. We're okay.
Speaking about winter, I wanted to ask you guys, what's the worst winter experience you've had this winter?
Nah, this winter was not that crazy for me.
For real?
Nah. I'm from Secunda, so Secunda gets extremely cold.
Bro, for me it's cold feet.
Area okay, fair.
For me it's cold feet. Hey, cold feet's not nice.
Yeah. Cold feet.
Hey, I walk on my towels without my socks, and I walk on the towels, and the minute I put my feet on the couch, I'm like, but now was I walking on ice or what? What is this?
Yeah, shoes don't even help anymore.
Oh, cold feet is the worst.
Right? Yeah, no.
For me, it's just being cold in jail is the worst experience ever.
Yeah. And excuse the pun, when I get into bed, the cold feet I have, my friends, we can't survive. Summer must come back. We need to be saved.
Nah, summer must come back. No.
Yeah.
Why don't you have an electric blanket?
You must have an electric blanket. I agree.
A Charles, no?
Really? Mine doesn't. Maybe mine is special. Yeah.
And the thing with me, winter or summer, I will sweat. So cold, a blanket won't help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. As much as I have cold hands and cold feet, I suffer.
This is why I always judge people that say that they like winter. Winter is extremely expensive when it comes to food, when it comes to electricity, when it comes to the coats and the boots and the jackets you need to buy. Like, I don't, yes, I understand that there's no flies and mosquitoes and, it's not as bad, but like, summer's fine. Summer, for me.
Yeah, summer's the weather for everybody else.
Honestly.
Yeah, now that was some insight as far as our local news is concerned. When we'll take a quick song break, just to give you an insight as far as our general sports is concerned as well. As far as the FIFA World Club goes, Jose Rivero, not the greatest outing. He's already under a huge amount of pressure. Only 2 games into his tenure as an Al-Ahly coach, already the calling for his head on the guillotine. Imagine the pressure that comes with being the coach of that job. You could see him sinking in his seat last night as Al-Ahly lost 2-0. You can almost see an into great amount of depression and thinking, now I must go back to those pyramids and now they must be telling me nonsense. Yeah, Bong is posing the question, why did you go? Yeah, like they say, going for greener pastures, but the grass is not always greener on the other side, and that's what Coach Rivero is learning from being at Al-Ahly. Hopefully, the team can get more points as they have one more game left. Not that they have a chance to survive in the group anymore, but they have one more game left, and hopefully they can get a victory from that last encounter. And then just general insight, also Real Madrid will played out to a 1-1 draw against Al Hilal, Saudi Arabian side, a very very good Saudi Arabian side. Yesterday, big disappointment for Paris Saint-Germain, of course, our current UEFA Champions League defending champions. They were beaten by Brazilian side Botafogo last night, and a result that nobody saw coming anywhere. And as far as rugby is concerned, the Springboks are getting ready for their test against Italy. They also take on Georgia. But before that, there's a test against the Barbarians, just as a warm-up game, just to open up the curtain raiser for what's said to be a humdinger test for incoming and outgoing tests for the Springboks during the course of the season. I'll give you more insight as far as these and other sporting headlines at just about around 10:30. We're going to take a quick song break. When we come back, there's a lot more happening. We'll give you an insight as far as did you know I think the did you know today focuses on a sneaker, and that name sneaker itself has a long story to it. Yeah. If you're a big sneakerhead, you might want to stay tuned for this. This is the Breakfast Show. The time right now is quarter past 10. When we come back, we dive into more interesting topics and insights as well as music as well. Stay tuned.
Listen, even the message behind the song stands out for me because, we always have this thing that when someone just like starts to blow up financially, that's what I'll call it. And then we're like, my brother, do you have a snake now? What are you using? Give us some, And he's just saying that, listen, I'm not using muti, like God hears my prayers. Yeah. I love that. And God will hear our prayers, guys. Let's have that faith. And touching on music, guys, I'm going to talk about someone who rocked the global charts, won a Grammy, and now he's wearing Harvard Business School badge. Can you just guess who it is?
Who's that?
Can you just guess, guys?
Black Coffee?
Close. Very close. It's actually Zakes Pandwini.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Zakes Pandwini is killing it. He's He's absolutely killing it, guys. This was released recently, and he completed a very prestigious Business of Entertainment, Media and Sports Executive Program at Harvard Business School. Yeah, marking a major milestone in his career and cementing his role as a cultural leader. He deserves that role.
Yeah.
I would literally say he's a cultural leader. He's doing very well.
Yeah, I think this also highlights the importance to, hopefully, the aspiring up-and-coming musicians and artists that it's not just always fun and games. You need to take it seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And there's also a business side to it. It's important to be educated in no matter what you do, especially in this particular industry. And that's how you will be able to have a financially sustainable career.
I think most musicians will ask themselves that, but why does it matter that I get this qualification? You know, and especially for someone like Ziggs, it really mattered because on the entertainment has the business side of things. So leveraging on that is what boosts you even more, especially on a global scale and on your ventures, because this is a business. As much as it's entertainment, it's fun, you're making everyone dance and have a great time, but you don't eat making people dance and have a great time. You open your fridge, you need food in there. So, getting the business side of it correct and knowing what to do can completely change you. I mean, I think he's also running a label, I'm not sure, but I know that, he's licensing artists for global exposure, and he's just helping them, in ways helping other people as well. And he knows how to help other people. So for me, that is amazing.
And I think the further education, he had a role, he said he's running a record label, he had a role in Universal Music Group, if I'm not mistaken, as a senior role, as a director of some sort. So I think him enrolling or getting that Harvard graduation or qualification almost comes from his role as in Universal. We get put in situations where you feel, okay, I'm in this situation right now. I didn't ask to be in this situation, but this is an opportunity in itself. How do I maximize from the opportunity? And I think furthering his education has now added up a great amount of value in him holding that position in Universal. So like you spoke, Feroza, we've had numerous artists that have come here and they've taken a seat here, and we was asking the business question of being in the music industry. Do you know the paperwork that comes with the industry? Are you able to read and to decipher what those paperwork are requiring from you? And sometimes it's not about, we're not saying go to Harvard and pay exorbitant amounts to be part of a Harvard enrollment. You spoke right now about the University of YouTube. That on its own is a form of education. Any artist, we spoke off air about an artist that I saw on a podcast, and he was Linkompo.
I also struggle to pronounce it. I don't know why.
When you look at the word and the way to pronounce it, Chief, how are you pronouncing this word like this? But anyway, he's a Linkompo artist, and they asked him a question, Chief. Are you gonna finish? Are you gonna matriculate off this? Are you gonna finish and matric off this? And he didn't hesitate. He had inner peace, and he had a boundary set. He said no immediately. There's no way I'm going to matric. But then here you are, you're doing Linkompo came up now. It's literally not even 6 months. Within a year, that same genre can die and disappear, because it's not a genre that will be received or widely received by the international market. It's something that we've created out here in Mzansi, and it might just stay here in Mzansi. It might not be accepted as well as Shoma Jozi was accepted overseas. This might not move, might not go to that extent. So you as an artist sitting here and you're thinking, okay, there's a new genre that's been developed. I found myself in that genre. I might be a catalyst. I might be the protagonist in that genre, but eventually we will get tired of it, because some people will not even understand what you're saying. There will be a repetition, because when he gave a freestyle, and in that freestyle he said the exact same words Sheba Shita says.
I was about to touch on something on that I feel like it can be received, and I say this because Makadzi did get a BET award, and I think slowly it is something that the international markets is they're more open-minded to our sound and the different sounds we have. I think it can be received, but however, my issue is that, remember how it is in the industry, it's very tricky. You won't always be a star. You won't always be that A-list star, like a Makadzi, who is so consistent, and you can still foresee that she's still going to maintain this role of consistency, and as the new upcoming artists, it's not easy to be, or we all aspire to be at that level, but it's not easy to reach it, and that's when people start to also fall away on the wayside. So I guess it brings the question that now, is it important for local artists to then invest in their education?
I believe so.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
because you don't know what you don't know. And what they also don't realize is artists who are consistent, like Makadzi, Black Coffee, they operate like a business.
Yes.
You know, they even have meetings. Okay, content creation, we need to put out this many posts. I need to dress a certain way, look a certain way. Accept these types of gigs. We're not going to accept those types of gigs. These types of interviews, media training,
it's
practicing.
Of course,
I have friends who like are artists, rappers in the industry, and what a lot of these artists don't see is this person in their house in front of a mirror in their full performance outfit practicing how they're going to be seen on stage. And okay, I need to fix my handwork, my leg work. They treat it like a business, and then these kids come up and just say, nice times,
I'll make it.
I'll make it.
I guess sometimes we undervalue the business side of showbiz in general, and I think that's where it backfires on us as artists. And I say us because I'm including myself, that there's still so much to learn, and I think that as Expertwini is showing us that talent is definitely one thing, but education is also important.
Because if he finds himself in a situation where, let's say, his musical career fizzles out, he still has this formal education where he'd be able to then move behind the scenes.
I was about to say that behind the scenes he can direct, he can co-sign. There's a lot he can still do without worrying about constantly trying to release a hit. You understand what I'm saying?
And please the public.
You understand? And that's one thing I also love about Black Coffee, where he said that, and if I'm misquoting, but I hope I'm not, where he was practically saying that he does not succumb to the pressure of releasing a hit. He releases what he wants and what he likes and what he enjoys. And imagine the freedom to be able to do that as an artist and not worrying about will this be the hit, will this get me that award, will this that is because you have so much information and knowledge and so much that you are able to invest in that just makes you so valuable regardless of whether you have a hit or not. So man, education is key.
And I think that's where the difference between a musician and an artist comes in, and an artist is understanding what is required from me from the art of music, not just being a person that goes in, he hits a few keys and you come out, you call yourself a musician. But also in that same saying, we've moved away from this narrative of having a plan B. Nobody ever has a plan B anymore. Everybody's like, I'm going for plan A. If plan A fails, I will make sure plan A comes up again. But in that plan A, you need to have a plan B. There has to be a plan B. So when that plan A is successful, you need to know, I'm in plan A right now, and I'm doing the greatest amount of, I'm achieving the greatest amount of success. But once this success runs out, there's a timeline for everything. What happens? What happens needs to be your plan B. And I feel like you've mentioned, our Zix Batwini has set himself on a wall stable for plan B.
I agree with you. I think people sometimes, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong or if I say this incorrectly, but I think sometimes people, maybe they don't think that they will live until they're 50 or 60. Like the way we are moving. The way some artists are living. It's like you're not thinking that, listen, I might be a 45-year-old with a wife and kids, and I might not maybe be, killing those hits, I
can't be Dr. Malinga kicking my leg up in the sky.
And maybe that is something that you don't even want for yourself at that age, because it does get exhausting to constantly be gigging away from your family. A lot of people speak on it and touch on it, that at some point, that's why they then step back. We've seen people step back or resign early. What is the plan then after all of that? Because clearly this industry is showing us that there's longevity in it, but I feel like more people are enjoying the longevity out, like behind the scenes, than to be, like you said, you're 50, you're kicking your leg up in the sky, and maybe you don't even want to. We don't know.
Because you have to show that 10,000 rand back from that gig. You have to kick.
Know.
Are you going home with hamstring injuries?
As somebody who's friends with a lot of rappers, and some of them get really defensive. They get angry at you when you try to be that friend that asks them, hey, so if this doesn't work out, if you don't blow up, what's your plan? I'm going to blow up, bro. Why would you say that? It's like, you think I'm not talented? But that's not what I'm trying to say.
It's not about your talent, man.
Exactly. You could be the most talented person. If the public doesn't want to consume your music, you can't force them to.
As someone who's an artist, that's a very difficult conversation to have. Believe me, I hear you. And you can become quite defensive. But I guess, like we said, it's always good to do multiple things, try multiple things, have that going. And I always feel like have that backup plan as well. because you just never know. Of course you are aspiring to make sure that this thing is the one that takes you to the top, and it's the music that you love, but sometimes things don't always turn out the way you plan. So it's good to like Zex is doing, equip yourself, study, make yourself valuable to the market as much as you can.
Anything else as far as entertainment is concerned?
Well, this is not really as entertainment, right? But it's how we get entertained, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Guys, I don't know if you saw, but there has been a breach. There's been 16 billion login credentials that have been leaked.
From where?
And this has been happening since Jan. The investigations have been happening since Jan. So, FBI is on it. And Google as well is actually urging people to just change their passwords. I think, and guys, you've seen those who are whether iPhone users or Samsung users, how we have so much of our passwords on our phones, even for your card, your wallet, so we're constantly paying with our phones, and we're doing so much with our phones.
That's true. Even this morning I was looking out the window, I was thinking to myself, I actually don't know any of my passwords off my head. If I have to access a password, I just go to because on Apple they have a whole app called Passwords. So in that app, all your passwords for everything you access is there. So I'm thinking to myself, on the top of my head, if I have to lose this phone right now, I'll go back to squares And I've had this issue before, so I don't know why. Like, also,
you keep doing
I keep doing it, but then it's the safety. It's like this mindset that this iCloud, I'll always be able to access on the cloud. But I think we need to go back to yesteryears where we actually started writing things down in a book or in a journal where
I still write, guys. I do, because I've went through the most with passwords where I really forget them, and now I've blocked my phone. Now I've blocked things. Now it's a mess. So there are times where I remember I literally changed my Instagram password not so long ago, and I wrote it down because I was like, let me change it. And another thing I started to use recently, because we're getting hacked, guys. There's a lot of hackings everywhere. We've seen artists lose their accounts. Imagine you have 3 million followers and then that account gets hacked. We've seen it happen to influencers. So one thing I've done is this authenticator apps.
Or the two-factor.
Yes. It's also something that is important to look into, guys, especially if you know that you are maybe making your money more digitally, social media. You need to have that backup, because the hacking is happening and it's getting pretty bad.
And I think the fact that OpenAI or AI in general is becoming so accessible, there will be certain things that you can direct an AI to do that might just be able to retrieve information from somebody else's device.
You see,
it is an open plan. It is an open field.
You just made me think of something. Like,
don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
don't do it.
Don't do it. That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say in the coding of AI, right? Like, for example, ChatGPT, it's global. So when they coded it and gave it guidelines, like, you can't do this, you can't talk about that. Do you think they put in the laws according to like each country's laws? Like, does ChatGPT know that, hey, in this country it's illegal so if somebody requests this from you,
what, I think they did, because there's a time where I was just like messing around with ChatGPT and I was just asking for like this address, where does this person live, and what are just messing around, like literally like nothing hectic, guys. But it was literally just saying no, I just wanted to see that, like, what can it really? So
how far you can push it.
Yes, how far I can push it. So the privacy thing, I believe so far it is within our rules. But hey, I did not code it, so I don't know
someone
for
can
a fact.
bypass it.
Exactly.
There's someone that's sitting there in a computer
who's
room
literally
trying to bypass one simple code, and once that code gets my passwords, and let me go home and write my things at home.
Because there are tips, and I think the few tips that I'll leave with you guys is that you must change your passwords immediately if they're very easy, especially for sensitive accounts. Enable the authenticator apps where it's the two-factor, and then stop reusing the same passwords, and that's the biggest problem we have. And then you can also use a password manager just to obviously make it easy, similar to the authenticator apps, and then just monitor your accounts, check the suspicious activity, check what's going on, look at the alerts, check your emails if you get an alert on something.
we are in the open world of technology, and of course everyone has access to everything these days. So it's like Leslie Claire said, take the necessary safety precautions to just ensure that your information is protected on a worldwide online basis, because everyone can have access to information, to anything. And the one information you want to protect is information aligning to your private account. So just ensure that safety is put out there. OpenAI is very much an open platform, so anyone can do anything they want on there. So just be as safe as you need to. The time right now is exactly 38 minutes past 10 o'clock. When we come back, we dive into some music and lights. In fact, we still have our Did You Know as well, no? So we'll give you some insight as far as Did You Know. I did mention how the Did You Know is going to cover the sneaker part of it, but we spoke about Limpopo artists. I want to give you some homage and pay some accolades to all the Limpopo artists and musicians that are currently making rounds in the country. Here's an interesting song from Sandesh. Hope you like this one. Hey. Yeah, Sandesh, definitely one of the I don't want to call it a legend just yet, but definitely a catalyst, a protagonist for Limpopo. Really getting the sound out there. Hopefully she stays in the industry for just as long as well as Makazi has, and hopefully also gets the accolades that Makazi has received, because she's definitely carrying Limpopo throughout the country. Time for Did You Know. Of course, I did mention of how important, of how sneaky this Did You Know is. Of course, we're referring to the sneakers, where the sneakers got their name from. Did you know that sneakers got their name from being quiet?
No, I mean, it makes sense.
I did not know that.
It makes sense, no?
It makes sense.
The name. Sneaking.
It never clicked.
I know. I have a question.
It never clicked.
Those quicking sounds. You know, when you walk and your sneaker rubs on a court and makes that quick sound.
Yeah.
What was the? Okay.
I think it's because in comparison to like your leather boots, for example, your hard sole shoes where you tap.
And you could actually hear the sound from the shoes. Oh,
yeah, you could hear your dad coming from a mile away.
What chief is you smell the leather even.
You know, so I think it's a situation where if you compare it to that, the sneakers are actually much quieter.
Fair.
That's of course back in the late 1800s, rubber soles were a game changer. Unlike our loud leather shoes like Feroz just mentioned now, these new soles made it possible to walk around without making a single sound. People started calling them sneakers because you could literally sneak up on someone while wearing them. Before long, the name of course stuck, and now sneakers and everywhere. We move around sneakers everywhere, over to the gym. Workspaces, literally everybody wears sneakers.
I'm wearing them right now.
And also more importantly, I suppose you're wearing leather boots and formal shoes. Sneakers come across as a form of comfort as well.
Exactly.
You know, you're a lot more comfortable, a lot to move around. Just get your day gone by as well. I know as time has progressed, we've started suffering a lot more chronic muscle illnesses and muscle injuries. And the right shoes will perhaps ensure that you protect it from such injuries.
No, true.
I agree.
So there's this interesting story I want to tell you guys about this Cape Town father. He was ordered or slapped with an order of 172,000 for maintenance, right? And he obviously was claiming that he does not have money, but this man had over R1 million bonus. So him and his wife,
where did the bonus come from?
From his work.
Okay.
Yeah, so him and his wife, ex-wife, they divorced in 2010, right? And she decided, let me move on, let me do the things, let me raise my kids. Now, in 2025, fast forward in February, she was like, hi man, this man is living his life and he's not taking care of his kids. So let me take him to maintenance court.
Sure.
They put all the papers and everything. And then in maintenance court, they were like, actually, you need to pay 170,000 rand for your first kid. He's like, guys, I don't have money. He submitted paperwork to be like, no, it's almost like twice or triple my net salary. The woman came prepared. She was like,
she had the receipts.
He's lying. He forged this affidavit. This is forged. Here's the real paperwork. Pa. And the judge was like, you see, so when are you saying she's harassing you by asking for maintenance? This whole time you lied about everything. You have over R1 million in bonus. You can't even, you're saying you can't afford 170,000. In fact, why don't you pay 222,000 rand instead? So they caught him like that.
Damn, I think in terms of like legally, right? I stand to be corrected, but in our country, there actually are no limits that are set in the maintenance court.
Really?
Yeah. So what happens is that they obviously look at the financial means of the person, just like the husband. The judge looked at the financial means. They look at expenses like food, rent, school, transport, everything. But there isn't like a limit where they say that you can only claim this much. You understand? So it's very variable. Like it really fluctuates. So someone earning like 15,000 maybe a month, they can be ordered 5,000 to maybe 2,000 to 5,000 for maintenance. But we all know that 2,000 doesn't do a lot for a kid. True. You know, even 5,000 depending on the lifestyle that you are giving to the child. You know, and healthcare is something that is crazy. So it's kind of interesting to know that there really isn't like a set limit that you can't go above 100,000. So you can even ask for that 200,000 if that person is making it. If the person has the means, they can see that.
It's the fact that he went as far as forging his IRP5 forms and getting false affidavit. Because at first, like, he immediately did like a counter thing, like, guys, you need to cancel this maintenance order. Here's all my paperwork. But homegirl was like, I've dealt with this man for many years. You know, I knew he was going to do this. So
I have the proof.
Just when you thought he was going to enjoy Father's Day.
Yeah. And I was about to say that, you know, I know we were speaking about present fathers and we're just literally, you know, just praising them and saying, you know, they're doing the things out there and we appreciate that. I once had a situation where, you know, the father, to run away from support, decided to resign
from his job.
You understand? So this is the reality of what a lot of, you know, single women are also
in this economy,
in this economy and in this country, where someone would rather resign than to support their child. Just to say, oh, okay, you want the maintenance money? Well, I don't have a job. Take that. How about that? So it's hence I say that we don't want to clap, you know, for a fish for swimming, but we do still say shout out to all the present dads who are doing what needs to be done. Yeah.
Facts. Me, I was raised by a single dad. So they are out there.
Really?
Yeah, they're out there. Since like 6 weeks old. That man changed
nappies, you just shocked me,
everything. Bro. What do you mean?
Like this person,
no,
he resigned from Span because...
Yeah. Like literally, like, I'm leaving this job. I'm not going to pay. Yeah.
Oh,
it happens.
Bongi, let me know they're avoiding the garnish.
Yeah, they're avoiding the garnishes, yeah.
Because they garnish your salary.
They do garnish your salary if you keep on running away, you know. So it's like, I'm going to avoid the garnish. I'm going to get my provident fund. And I can maybe, depending on how you resign, but you can't really get UIF because UIF you have to be retrenched or end of contract. So he's going to get his provident fund, and I'll live. Why should I pay maintenance?
So they don't garnish the provident fund. Maybe they should start doing.
You know
that.
What? We need to do research
into
that. Yeah, because already with the divorce, when you divorce someone, already that person is able to touch into your provident fund. So I don't know if now. You know, garnishes can touch the provident fund, but I hope they don't. I don't know. When it comes to child maintenance, they must.
This way,
but when it comes to other things,
guys, don't get married in community of property. Imagine I get married in community of property. Now they're garnishing my salary to pay for your kids' maintenance.
Yeah.
Ha. Yeah. Because when now you want to be an absent dad, hectic.
Yeah.
The reality is, it's there.
Guys, please love your families, love your kids.
Yeah.
They need you. Please. Yeah. That's my 2 cents because I've just been shocked right now.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the time is 10 minutes to top of the hour. Before we say our final goodbyes, when we come back, we'll dive into some music and lights. We play an old song and we try to compare it to a new sample and interpolation. We let you decide whether it's new school or old school that gets the song ringing for you. Take a quick song break. When we come back, we dive into that and we say our final goodbye. Good morning to you. I saw clips of him donned in full denim, all white denim, walking into P. Diddy's trial, saying he's out to support him. Was that a ploy to just say he's the only artist there supporting him, or he was just trying to get some more attention as he normally does?
That's not something to be proud of.
Yeah, and he left, like, apparently he wasn't even there that long.
For real?
Yeah.
I think it was just a showbiz thing.
Yeah, it wasn't even that long.
They might see me, I'm here supporting my boy Sean Combs.
There's no need to support things that
don't need support.
That don't need support. Like, it doesn't make sense. But
you know what, to be honest, like, I once had a friend, he's not my friend anymore, but he was part of a really high profile GBV case in South Africa. And as soon as I found that out, I cut ties. I did not visit him in prison. I did not go to court. He's dead to me. I don't know that man.
Not with all the femicide that is happening in our country.
You feel me? And even as the friend group, we'd ask around like, hey, did you talk to him? And we'd always give each other the same response. What must we talk to him about?
Like what? No.
There's nothing to talk about.
No.
He did what he did.
Yeah.
Actually, it's tough.
Yeah.
Tough these days. Of course, we haven't touched much on the show on the Sean Combs court cases currently going on right now. That's because we want to do it when we're heading to the end of it, because right now it seems like they are very much in depth into what the whole scenario, breaking down every single testimony, breaking down every single victim and suspect that has been part of this. So by us diving into that discussion, it's not going to add a huge amount of information to you, because also we don't have the full amount of information. So once the court case draws towards a near end, maybe then we'll have some insight as to how things are going to unfold, what the future will look like for Didi and all the perpetrators that have been involved in this case as well.
The fact that this case has given rise to the information that Diddy was allegedly behind the murders of Tupac and Biggie. Imagine.
At least, I don't want to say at least, but maybe now we get some light shading onto those two artists that we lost. I think those are stalwarts of the industry, and them disappearing with no answers, no proof, no evidence has more specifically on the family has raised a huge amount of concern on the family side. But it's been a long time since the two passed away. So maybe only now will they'll get some justice for their passing.
Do you think that this means now the end of the rumor that Tupac is in Cuba?
I hope he's in Cuba.
I don't think it's guys, is it possible to, but maybe it is. I mean, it's a world of possibilities, you know, but like, how do you not then, do you feel like the family would be in on it, hypothetically
the family's
speaking?
Probably there in Cuba as well.
They
do in and out
because
visits.
how do you just like not see your family for that long, and then everyone is like grieving that you're dead but you're not? I just don't get that. But hey, I guess to save your life and to, you know,
would you ever go into witness protection? Right, the state is like, we are changing your name, your identity. You can't reach out to the people.
If my life is, I would. If my life is obviously in danger,
I definitely would. As long as I'm getting a mention, I'm going.
It won't be a mention.
It won't be.
They'll put you in an RD.
They literally put you. Yeah, it's an RDP.
No, I'm okay.
And yeah,
that's it. And your whole identity is gone. They can't call you.
They're not taking you to Cuba or Hawaii or Dubai.
You know.
Funny enough, there's a movie. There's a movie that suggests that there's an island, a death island, where everybody that dies goes to that island. So the likes of your Michael Jackson, your Tupacs and whatnot, they're out there sipping margaritas with flowers in their heads and living the best life. Kind of here we are. We're busy mourning them.
Those theories are there, and you constantly like see videos of that where they like trying to show evidence. They're like, but look at the day they say he died, he went out back the door, and you can see they're busy smuggling him into a car. Like there's many things you see, and it's just like controversy theories.
Guys, for me, the most important thing is to not know. To not know sometimes is a good thing. Yeah, it's very much
ignorance can be bliss.
Very much so. Very much so. You want to know things that will now. Don't ask questions that don't have answers. Anyway, the time right now is 11 o'clock. In fact, we're about to wrap up the show. Ladies, plans for the weekend? For Rosa, you said you're playing down the road from your house. I'm assuming you got a gig this weekend. I'm not
playing, but I'm doing the camera work.
Okay. Dope.
Like what I rock here at Bogart, I'm going to go rock it outside.
Natural habitat.
Yeah.
Citra, you got a big weekend ahead as well. I think you got a busy day today as well, you mentioned.
I have a busy day today. I have a busy day tomorrow, just attending a couple of events. Yeah, I have Blondie London's event that I'm attending today. Shout out to her. She's doing extremely well as a business. You know, it would be nice to have her over, just to pick her mind on things. She's very smart. I think invite her over.
It would be really nice to tap into the idea of women in business.
Yes,
especially in this time where it's predominantly dominated by men.
By men, yeah. It would be really nice to pick her brain on that. I'm attending her event later. I'm just doing quite a few things tomorrow. I'm also attending another event, so I'm just an events girl right now.
Do your thing.
Thank you.
As for me, you know me, the sports guy as per usual. That's going to be my weekend. Definitely watching football as per usual. Nothing very entertaining. Obvious. Bongi says obvious. And then just a bit of family gathering, friendly gathering. That's pretty much. It's not so much to sing a loud song about.
I have a question.
But definitely enjoying this weekend.
So when you're doing your sports weekends, now, do you take care of yourself during the sports weekend, or is it just delivery bikes to and from your house?
No. I don't actually get a lot of fast food. I'm a big cook, so I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. My fridge is quite full with food, so I make sure that I need to use the food in the fridge. But most of my weekends in sports are always having people over. So having people over means you must cook for them, feed them. That's where my excitement comes in. The lack of excitement comes in with washing the dishes. I like washing my own dishes, but not other people's dishes. So there's a rule. There's a paper on my wall that says clean after yourself. So as you put in that dish in the sink, you must look up and say, okay, It's not that type of house.
It's my responsibility
to clean.
I want a I saw someone had a banner in their house when they were organizing a little dinner party.
Yeah.
And in balloons it wrote, "Please leave by 9."
Yo.
People are not going to leave by that time unless they really respect you and they're like, okay, cool, we out of here.
You know.
Speaking about being out of here, that's pretty much our cue for saying our goodbye. We've done a huge amount of favor in terms of giving you information, entertainment throughout the course of the 3 hours we were here. It is the weekend. 2 hours. Oh, it always feels like 3 hours. 2 hours. It is, yes, the weekend, baby. Do have a good weekend. Be safe out there. There's a cold front expected in parts of the country. Not specifically Joburg, but it is going to be cold as it has been throughout the course of winter. So try to be a little bit safe out there and definitely keep warm. And always remember to be kind. Until Monday, breakfast is served. Good morning.